Do you want the debate or do you want these hands? Tell me what you want. Do you want these hands?
I'ma do something.
Welcome back again to the Catch These Hands podcast on the I'm Kinda Famous Podcast Network. I'm Kinda Famous Podcast on all social media, iTunes, Google Music, Stitcher, anywhere you listen to podcasts, go to the I'm Kinda Famous Podcast Network and you can find all episodes of all shows that's on the network. So I'm doing this intro over because I wasn't recording the first time, so my excitement is down. Facebook.com/KindaFamousPod, KINDA Famous Pod, POD, as well as Twitter. And don't forget to go to aRoweFilms.com, AROWE Films.com. Now, again, I have Dave, the Caveman Rickels, fresh off of Bellator 189, and a record-breaking showing on the I'm Kinda Famous Podcast Network with the most episodes ever done. And Chris Harris with no nickname. I'm gonna use the same joke twice. I'm just gonna do the same shit twice. And we're live right now on Facebook, but by the time you hear this, you already missed it. Dave.
Hello, everyone.
Bellator 189.
Is this thing on?
We're watching. There we go. You got you about to tap him out.
Man, I know, dude. It would have been so sweet to tap out the black belt who was supposed to tap me out.
And that's it.
The dynamic grappler.
Blah, blah, blah.
So with this fight,
who gets their own initials tattooed on their back?
Oh no!
I not his whole name. Look at on his little shoulder piece. Ooh. Look at this.
Says the man with tattoos.
That's his only tattoo. I know my initials.
Deke. Ooh. Okay. Hey, yeah, we're watching a little bit of reruns there. You know, just touching them up, touching them when I wanted to, which was a nice feeling. Felt good. Felt sharp.
So you're coming back for the first time in a long time, and we talked about this several times. This long layoff. How did it feel?
Man, you know, what was it? Ended up being 9 months since my last fight. It felt really damn good to be back in the cage, man, because that's just a long time.
It is.
I think it was kind of needed, though, man. I talked about that. I think back, the showing that I just put out there, it shows the future of the caveman, the progression of the caveman.
You look crisp. You feel it. Did you feel any different this time?
Relaxed, man. I have not felt that relaxed probably ever going into a fight. I don't know, maybe when I was younger and there wasn't a lot of pressure, but I don't know. I was able to relinquish the pressure, man, and it was really nice having Chris there and Joe and just bullshitting and having a good time. Like, the whole week was just a lot of fun building up to the fight. So I think there's a lot to that, too.
Was the confidence any different?
Yeah, I mean, when you want a fight, like that's the beauty of this. When they called me for this fight, was that, do you want this fight on 2 weeks' notice? Like, hey, this is a short notice fight. Do you want this? And the beauty of this fight was for me to go, yes, that's a guy that I want to beat the shit out of this guy. Like, I don't see any problems with this guy. Like, I know I'm gonna win this fight, and like, it's a great thing to go in there and fight that way.
But you had, like, I don't know, how many fights did you have that you were trying to get that just fell through or didn't happen or whatever?
How many? I mean, I don't know, a lot actually. I was supposed to fight Aaron Pico. Which there was a running joke that I was fighting Aaron Pico this whole time. But that's we kept calling him Aaron. Like interviews, like I was doing interviews like the whole week
talking about Pico.
You're
Aaron Pico
going into this fight
when I was fighting Adam. Yeah. When I fought Adam over this weekend,
He needs some name
we were
recognition.
doing the interviews, and I was like, yeah, fighting Aaron Pico. He's a good wrestler. Blah blah blah. This and that, and it was really funny. But yeah. Anyway, so I was supposed to fight Aaron Pico at Madison Square Garden. He got beat up. I was supposed to fight Josh Thompson. I was supposed to fight Brennan Ward. And just nothing has panned out. So,
and this one panned out. They just because they needed that replacement. Oh, look at him! Look at him! Yelling, carrying on, hugged him. He can't see. Now, when you see his face like that,
he's
and you're
like,
in the middle
"Who
of
am I
fight,
talking to?" Is that David?
When you see someone their face busted up like that, do you intentionally target that, or what are you thinking in that moment?
Well,
because you did end trying to get a submission.
No, yeah, would I purposely target? Hell yes, I would. But did I in the fight, man? Dude, if I was on the ground, I was thinking about it, I'd start sticking my fingers in it, just rubbing it,
poking the bruise,
poking the bruise. But nah, I don't know. I didn't think about any of that while I was in there. I was just flowing, man. I was just trying to get that W.
I don't think. I mean, when I fight, I don't even notice.
You don't
opponent.
notice someone
I don't
hurt?
notice my opponent like that. Like the one fight, the Antoine fight, when I split his eye or his face open.
Yeah.
Like I saw the blood, but I wasn't like looking at that fight. Like I'm so in the moment. Like I don't know. And the way David was fighting, though, it looked like Piccolotti wasn't even there. Like it was just a body that David was beating up on. Like there was no need to look that detailed into where to hit or what to like. You just do whatever he wanted to do. Like
right? Could you feel yourself
man.
basically having your way with the dude? At what point did you know you could have your way?
Look at the beginning of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and that's one of the great things about. I think, when you showcase your best skills, you're gonna show it from the beginning and the end. Like it's not gonna be like you just happen to find some confidence and start going. Like you're gonna feel good from the bat. You're gonna go in and you already feel good. You already know the moves you want to make. And like Chris just said, you're fighting your fight. Like you're only reacting to your opponent. Like you're not thinking about things. You're doing what you're flowing.
Now, Chris, I mean, you had shit seem like whole jam TK in your corner. Chris, you was there. Steve was there. Wilk was there. You ain't even do your hair.
Mm-mm.
What was that about?
He didn't want to outshine me.
I had to
yeah, you
fight
was
with
your
David
beard
all
back.
week. I didn't have time to do my damn hair.
Now you came off of what, EFC 7? I can't remember who you fought.
I don't know.
Who you fight? Matchmaker?
He fought Kyle Kurtz.
Kyle Hurts.
Came up from like 45 or something.
All right, bring that mic close to you. Now that was a lot of shit,
man. So I will say this though, man. Chris, he fought Kyle Hurts is a respected welterweight in the area, man, and I think that's a good win for him. And man, shit, we're just trying to get him another fight ASAP, aren't we?
Who?
Chris.
Okay, while he's doing that political shit, you went talked a ton more than I think anyone has ever heard you talk. What was that about?
Man, honestly, I have no idea. Like,
did you miss weight the first time?
Okay. So the history is I missed weight, by 5 pounds maybe. It was a lot. I'm not, that's not excusable, but I offered him all my money, the win bonus, everything. Like I told him, the only thing I was gonna get was my ticket sale money. That was it for him to take the fight. He said no, and he went home. He told one of my teammates that he wanted to take the fight because he thought it was an easy win. He thought he could easily beat me, right?
Oh, so this is where this comes from. Okay.
But his coaches were telling him not to take the fight. Okay, I'm sorry, but even if I don't think it's an easy fight, if Andy tells me not to take a fight, I'm probably still going to take the fight. Especially when you're giving me all that money.
Yeah.
Like, there's not person around that I wouldn't fight for the amount of money that dude was gonna go home with. Okay, so that's then you go and tell my teammate that I'm gonna be an easy fight. I don't care if you go talk to Robbie Lawler and tell him to watch me fight. I'm not an easy fight for anybody.
Oh shit!
Right? Like there's no video you can go look at where somebody was beating me easily. Even if I did get beat, it wasn't easy. Right? So
you're not helping yourself get fights, but we'll get to that.
man, these dudes, I will take to Instagram day after day after day with new posts every single day till somebody fights me. It's gonna get worse and worse and worse. People's names will start getting tagged to those posts eventually.
Dude,
but
here's the problem: is Chris is on the cusp. Okay, he's on the cusp, man. Where he's very good, obviously good. Like you can watch tape and you know that Chris is good. You know that Chris is a really hard opponent to beat. But without that being under the banner of Bellator or UFC, people are going to they're scared to take fights with Chris Harris. Why fight Chris Harris when you can fight this other dude who's way less scary and hits way less hard, and he rolls over and he's got an okay record. You know what I mean? People are about racking up bodies and making it to the UFC and Bellator, and it just sucks when fighters get stuck in limbo like Chris a little bit.
Those dudes will get exposed once they get.
But then, how did you get over the hill? Because you
gotta have the breakthrough
I gotta wait
fight
till somebody will accept a fight with me on short notice, and I beat the piss out of them because they think I'm not ready, but I'm always ready.
You're not helping, man.
Ooh.
You're not helping.
I hope somebody out there is a real fighter and hears this and is like, I want to fight that dude.
Any weight class?
85, 70.
I got a 205 dude ready to get with you.
Who?
I don't know. I ain't gonna put him out there.
Who?
Look, ain't no owls over here, man.
You tell me a name. Who?
Shit. I think I'm about 207. I can come down.
It won't be my first time up that high.
Man. Yeah, dude, we gotta get this man to fight.
But what
he needs
is
a breakthrough fight?
Is it just because they scared of you? Or are they afraid of the record or afraid
both. Most of these dudes are worried that if they get beat, they're not going to get to the UFC or whatever. Right? Their mentality is, I'm going to fight the fights necessary, the easiest fight that I have to fight to stay undefeated, and Dana White's going to call, or somebody's going to call, 8-0 records, number one welterweight in the nation, and you turn me down on a week's notice. Get the hell out of here. So anyway,
but you had the opportunity to fight in front of Dana, and you have how many losses? Two. All right. So what you saw? I mean, okay, you were in that fight. It was an alright fight. Being honest, it was an okay fight.
Which one? The one in front of Derek? No, I mean, yeah. Okay, so Derek Atkins. Okay, yeah. Let's clarify something. I don't perform or like even turn on in the fight like until I feel like I'm in danger. Right? If you go watch any of my fights, like I'm just kind of there, right? Like I'm not ever one and only time that I've been hit somebody and I was like, oh damn, we gotta fight, is when I fought Julian Marquez. And you see the performance that comes out like that. When I'm worried that a dude has me in danger is when I turn on. So if we're gonna talk about a bad performance, if I performed to the less of my abilities ever, it was because my opponent didn't hurt me or intimidate me.
Well, why don't you go all the way in up front, if that's the case, instead of waiting till you're in danger?
Because it doesn't.
It
turn
has
on.
to be turned
It's that
on.
killer be killed instinct. I don't ever feel like I can be killed or in danger by these people. Julian was the only person that's done that to me.
It hurt. Those punches hurt.
No, I didn't feel anything or think about anything during the fight. The only
so it's literally like an instinct. Like you don't even know you're doing it. It's just kind of happening.
Yeah.
You know what this like?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just it's an instinct. It's an instinctual it's fight or flight.
Right. Some guys curl up and
There's fighters
Go
that
home.
rise to the occasion, right? So there's a broad spectrum of fighters. But if you've been fighting and watching the game there's the guys who are really damn good in the gym, and they get in the cage and they ain't shit. There's the dudes who are terrible in the gym. They're just, I mean, their technique ain't there. They can't do nothing right. And then they get in the cage and they perform. You know, that's a guy I can think of. Man, Braxton Everett. He's like 16-0 as an amateur, 1-0 as a pro. And man, he just does not look pretty in the gym. But when that boy fights, he puts it on. I mean, he's undefeated in 17 fights, which is crazy. But
17 fights, amateur.
As an amateur,
One
and then
pro.
we get to guys like Chris, who are honestly, I think he fights better, and he says it himself. He fights better when he has harder competition. You know, he fights to the level of competition that he's in there with.
Okay, so what do you think?
If you throw Chris in there with so name one person from the UFC, bam, you know, and he's gonna rise to that occasion. He's gonna
Cowboy
bring up
Coroni.
Coroni. Cowboy Coroni. Cowboy Coroni.
That sounds like a damn good macaroni dish. I don't know why.
Cowboy Coroni.
What is it?
Some
What is
big
he,
old
six? What,
hunks
I
of
mean,
steak in there.
did
Cowboy
he
Coroni.
went up, didn't he?
Yeah, no.
Welterweight.
Hey, as much as we're clowning you, we know who we're talking about. Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah.
Yes,
Cerrone.
I
One
think-
of my favorite to watch.
Hey, my bad.
yeah.
That's a fighter. That's a fighter.
That's a fighter's fighter, man.
That's a
Like
fighter.
you can
You can call him any day of the week and he'll take a fight.
Now, all right. So let's take something like that. Recently, UFC put out their whole was it Ultimate Fighter?
Contender series thing?
Yeah,
Or the
no,
undefeated thing?
Yeah, the
Okay.
undefeated. Now, does that feel like a fucked up situation for you? Someone who could probably
It
benefit
feels
from
it.
that?
See, no. Seems like a show full of dudes that you might have one or two dudes that are really undefeated and have fought tough dudes that end up on that show. But it sounds to me like a bunch of dudes who have been picking and choosing their fights and staying away from the tough fights.
All right, let's just get to this shit. So you made a post the other day about you people being afraid and ducking fights and all that shit. So what made you do that? What made you put
There's
that
another
out
one
there
today.
like that? I mean, goodness.
there will be a series.
There will be a post every single day, and like I said earlier, eventually people's names are gonna start getting tagged in these posts, and people are gonna either fight me or keep ducking, and quote unquote fight me when they get to the UFC.
Well, at least they think you're gonna make it. That's a good thing.
That's true.
That'll work. What you think? What do you think is Chris Harris' best fight that you can remember?
Obviously the Julian. Well, actually, shit, the Julian Marquez
That was
fight,
good.
and then oh boy, you just fought. You ended up losing. You got triangled.
Yeah, Brandon Allen.
But dude, man, so this is one of those things where me watching as a training partner, man, I saw a small hole where you ended up getting triangle, which is something, you know, but that sucks. But what you did before that, the fighter that I saw in you, like that's the shit that gets you hype as a training partner, because that's elite level skills. I was watching. What I was watching in your
Dude's a
stand
brown
up
belt.
was elite level, right? When you were landing nasty elbows, your stand up was just so clean, man. And when I was watching that, I just knew, like, you know, it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. And we know this too. Styles make fights.
And those are all 85ers. Those are
Right.
grown ass men. The two dudes that had beat me were 6'4".
Hey,
The two
look,
dudes
man,
that had
if
beat
they
me were
over
both
21.
Not that
they
that
grown
matters.
men.
Not that that matters. Not that being 6'4" matters. But
I think
they used their advantages. Brendan Allen triangled me because he had really long legs.
and he
Jordan
took an
Young-
ass whooping.
Jordan
a
Young-
terrible one before
Jordan
that.
Young jabbed me and moved around. We'll call it moved. Be a little respectful. He jabbed me and moved
See, what would
the
you
whole
call
time.
He moved a
He
lot.
jabbed and crossed
He
and
moved a
moved
lot.
a lot.
He moved a lot in the opposite direction
He
of
did.
a fight.
he did what he had to do. He did what he had to do to win the fight. He had to jab and move and stay away from me.
And that was
notes that's another
Hey,
example.
effective
That's
strategy though.
That's another situation. Like I said, at no point in time in that fight did I feel like I was in danger. No point in time in that fight did I feel like he was even trying to hurt me. So I never really turned on, and it's like a hard sparring session, and it ain't even a hard one.
all right. Look, so here's the deal. I don't know how long I've been, like 3 or 4 years or some shit like this. So the first time I laid eyes on you, let's
Whoa.
hold
Whoa.
on. Hey, you know I gotta finesse.
Cue
you.
the
I gotta
music.
finesse. you.
Cue the music.
But you, it's almost like this whole. I guess it's an evolution in ways of you being kind of. I hate to say timid because when people see you in a certain light, you're not a timid person. You talk a lot, but then now it seems like it's more. I hate to say confidence, but it's just more of like. No, I guess I would more comfortable being a fighter. Do you feel like there's been some sort of change for you as a fighter over the years, or
As a fighter, yeah, of course. But
But I mean,
in my
all-
personality, what you're saying, I know what you're saying. Like I opened up recently more, is what
yeah,
right?
like I mean, not even recently, just over time, fight to fight. It
You've
feels
seen it
like
evolve slowly.
you are more of what we want to see as a TV fighter or a performer.
Mhm.
Is there something that happened, or you just kind of
No,
feeling
I'm
more-
to the point where I'm tired of people being in a limelight when they haven't done nothing to be there,
Mm.
and they need to come fight me.
Who do you want to fight, man?
I don't care.
Man,
It don't
yeah,
matter.
for the longest time,
Hey.
man. Chris almost you had it's to me it felt like you had the demeanor of like, you know,
I'll get there
you were
eventually.
you exactly
Yeah.
like it's just gonna happen eventually if I keep
fight,
winning
keep
these fights
fighting.
and if I just fight my little heart out, I'll get there, man. Like just so
Man.
and then slowly you started to realize like how ruthless and bullshit like the game can be, man. And like which just kind of brought out the animal in you, dude. Which is exactly what I feel like you
Needed to happen, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was inevitable.
Because every fighter, and I even got you saying this shit, and I think it's horse shit, honestly. But where you go, shit, I'm gonna go out there and just fight, and the fight will give me, if I just go out there and fight, everything could be. I think you even said this shit before, and it's like, no, like in the end of the day, like as a fighter, you're a dynamic fighter. But then when you add some personality to it, now we want to buy tickets. We want to see you fight. And now people run. Because that is a blessing and a curse, because the curse part, that confidence is going to keep people from not wanting to fight you. Like this just idea, like whoever wants to fight. I think you probably had the same problem too.
Especially lately.
Sorry, we know how to punch people. Like you guys are all scared of strikers. Sorry, we're not a bunch of grapplers that want to lay on you and play touch butt for 15 minutes. We want to punch you in the face and elbow you and hurt you wherever we can.
Right. And when you lose to guys like me and Chris, like it's kind of fun, you know?
What now between boxing and MMA kickboxing, which one you prefer to do? Don't say all of them.
No, if I could, there's a clear answer. If I had my choice in what career path I could pursue, it'd be boxing. I'm more passionate and love boxing more than anything else. Now, I love training everything. I love training wrestling. I love training striking. I love training kickboxing. I love all of it, But there's something about boxing that I'm more passionate about than the rest of it.
Why is that?
Just the fact that like not even necessarily the fighting aspect of it, but like the movement and body mechanics and like how much it's broken down into
He loves the science.
like the science behind
the
everything.
sweet
Like
science.
yeah,
Young Floyd Mayweather.
they got everything broken down so much. Like they've just perfected that craft.
Is it hard to perfect MMA?
Yeah.
What do you think?
There's not a way. I mean, I don't think it has been done. You'd have to. Not only you can't just perfect boxing and perfect jiu-jitsu and perfect wrestling and perfect kickboxing. Like you have to put them together perfectly too.
Well, another great thing, man, about quote unquote the perfection of MMA and the perfection of boxing and this and that. It's like every person who thinks they have it figured out, somebody else finds another way to do it. Like it's a continually changing and evolving thing.
Is that the rules or just the skills itself?
I don't think you can perfect the sport and skills of it, right? Like you can't perfect. No one is a perfect boxer. Floyd's close, but everybody would want to see him punch more. Obviously, be more aggressive, right? Lomachenko's damn good, but he doesn't have that knockout power that everybody wants to see. We got everybody. No one can perfect
Klitschko.
it. Same thing as Klitschko.
Vitaly.
Ross Purdy has an answer for that.
Yeah, exactly. So you get Jordan Burroughs is an amazing wrestler, but he hasn't perfected wrestling. We got, every sport has these dudes that are the best. He probably took a little too many punches in his career.
All right.
Right? Like, yeah, you can do it, but why would you want to? Like, I do it too. But, that breaks people.
Hey,
but anyways.
That should add up.
So, but what I think you can try to pursue as far as MMA goes is trying to perfect movement and body mechanics. Right? Like, that's where you can get as close to perfect as possible, in my opinion.
So who would be as close to perfect in MMA?
In MMA?
Yep. Both of y'all.
Close to perfect in movement?
Nobody. It's not. It's still so young.
Yeah,
Nobody.
there's so much room for improvement in MMA.
Nobody.
Man.
You got great wrestlers.
I would have said for a while, like in their movements and being in the right position to punch and this and that, like Anderson Silva in his prime. I would say like his striking and movements.
But when you say Silva's it's more intimidating to be in the ring, so therefore he has more opportunity.
Yeah, but how did you intimidate those people? By being one of the most precise strikers in the game. Like, he didn't knock people out with power. That's not how he ever knocked anyone out. It was by being in the right place to smack you right in your chin, like at any given moment.
Being in position while your opponent's not.
What's all these sayings coming from? Was y'all got a book?
We've been writing a book in our
should probably
the Chris Harris 101 book.
Now with Dana White, they came out basically EFC to do that show, and you were highlighted on that show, and he wasn't impressed, and then there was something that seemed impressive to you about him. Now, it's two parts of this. How did you feel about that, and do you feel like part of that was for the show?
How do I feel about the fact that he wasn't impressed with me?
Yeah.
And then do I think that he just said he wasn't impressed for the show?
Yep.
Right? No. The fight itself, styles make fights, and that fight was not an exciting fight.
But his impression of you was that you wouldn't have been able to.
Well, I couldn't. He tried to say I was getting tired. Like, I don't know how I got tired with a dude hugging my ankle for 5 minutes. But it's hard to fight an exciting fight when a dude is doing nothing but hugging your ankle and kissing the mat. Like,
one problem I had with the whole Dana White thing was, okay, why is he upset? Like, it almost seemed like he was upset with Chris Harris for fighting at a weight class that he signed up to fight at when this other guy was smaller than him. He was acting like Chris went out and found some small schmuck off the freaking street to fight. You know what I mean?
Too many
this
words.
dude was a tongue twister.
Small schmuck off the street.
Tongue twister. But man, it's like he was acting like this whole ploy was set up to like have Derek Adkins get beat, man. And Derek signed up for that fight knowing that he'd have to fight up a little bit of weight, hoping to have an opportunity.
Even up. He was fighting at 170 that whole time, or 70. Yeah, he had fought at 70.
And 70.
But
regardless, he took an opportunity to fight in front of Dana White.
No, he took the opportunity before he knew Dana White was coming. He took that fight before we ever knew Dana White was coming, before you released it.
That's true.
Because I took the fight before I knew Dana White was coming.
In hindsight.
Yeah. And then told Dana White asked him, "Oh, why'd you take a fight? Why'd you take a fight a weight class up? Because we knew you were coming." Out of here.
Anyhow, dude, it is what it is. Like,
But all right, this is your organization.
And that was
as
a
well.
long ass time ago. Let's take a look at Chris's fights and his records. And his, man, he's just on that pivotal point, man. And I think somebody needs to give him a serious look.
Who?
Everybody.
Top dogs, Bellators, the Bellators, the man.
Bellator.
Have one.
The Bellator.
One FC. Have one FC. Hey, he want to go fight some Chinese people and some Asian folk at one FC.
I don't care where I got to go to beat somebody up.
This motherfucker really wants to
Russians.
fight.
He'll fight Russians.
They're scary, but I'll fight them.
Russians are. Take that back, Chris.
Yeah.
We're Americans.
We'll fight Russians.
We're Americans.
We'll fight Russians when we get to the UFC.
There we go. Have you had any offers?
Offers to fight? No. The past, dude, since like the past.
You need better man.
What? No, Reese has been. We've had.
Sorry, Reese.
I don't know how many people needed short notice fights. Dudes that like 4-0, opponent backs out, like a couple days notice or a week's notice. No, said no to me as a replacement. 8-0, main event for a big show. No to me as a replacement. Boxers, 2 boxers, undefeated, both of them undefeated, but that's a whole nother world. They're obviously padded. Both undefeated, needed fights on less than 2 weeks' notice. All of these, right? No. The past month and a half.
How are you
short
able to
notice
get them
fights?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm Dave Rickels, son.
People like the idea of fighting for him, especially in the Midwest. That's what I think it is, because he's the man around here. And when David calls you,
I'm the man on these streets.
yeah, I get to fight for Caveman. And even he
Man,
has
it
a
is
hard
cool.
time fighting
Dude,
me fights sometimes.
And it is hard. It's still hard to find him fights. But I'm also a good matchmaker. I'm diligent. I have to send out 30, 40 messages sometimes to find an opponent. But that's at that point, that's me finding an opponent for Chris. If LFA was to say, we're looking for a fight for Chris Harris, they'd find one. The problem, I would think
I hope
so.
Jed's watching.
The big thing is like, man,
they needed a replacement on last notice for a main event in LFA.
Well, I'm saying if the replacement was if you were signed up in the original,
if it was me that needed,
if it
to
was
fight,
you that needed to fight, I'm sure they'd be able to find
somebody would find the fight,
right?
Yeah, as long as I was willing.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to sign a contract?
Can't
with
do
somebody?
nothing if the opponent's not willing.
You want to sign a contract?
No,
Would you like it?
With who?
Anybody?
If I'm gonna get paid and guaranteed that I get the fight, then yeah. You guarantee me I'll get this much money and I get the fight at least 4 times a year, then yeah.
There it is.
I need to
I'm
fight
trying to do some
at
open
least 4
negotiating
times.
for you.
At least 4. I need more than that, but you got to guarantee me 4.
You just seen what happened with him, right?
What?
A year.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
You really? I mean, I think that's like we said.
I'm saying
that's the curse
if
of being good.
Yeah.
So, who's your favorite fighter?
Me?
Yeah. Let's go with boxing. In boxing,
Boxers. My favorite boxer.
Cotto just retired.
Now, my favorite boxer right now is Lomachenko.
Dude, it's gotta be, dude.
Yeah. Lomachenko. My favorite boxer of all time is Roy Jones.
Roy Jones.
Yeah. Even though he's like the opposite of everything I preach.
Because, I mean, he's pretty much a fight pattern person, I think.
You think so? I mean, I don't know how
So
many
people have
undefeated
told
guys,
me-
undefeated records he took, but
someone
couple.
makes the argument that he was just that much better than those fighters.
I think the era that he fought in, he didn't have the competition he needed.
And he was a
Yeah.
big dude fighting smaller.
That's not
I
his
think.
fault.
Well, I mean,
Just like it's not my fault that
Prince
welterweights are too
Nassim.
little. Yeah, he's
That
fun
dude
too.
was so
He's
fun to
too.
watch.
Or
man.
who's the what's the drunken master? Floyd even said it was his toughest fight.
start with an M.
Uh-oh. Check it out.
Is that the one that he rematched? Floyd rematch? Maidana?
No. This dude, no, the dude that like does all the drunken stuff like that and like beats people up.
Floyd fought him?
Yeah,
Pulling
when
it
he
up
was
right
young,
now.
when
This
he
is
was
the
young.
greatest. Emmanuel Augustus.
Emmanuel Augustus. You never seen him?
That's the greatest
You
thing,
never seen
man.
him?
That's the greatest thing about the internet right there, man.
He didn't
Hey,
fight.
Google.
When did he fight
Yes,
Mayweather?
Floyd said that was his toughest fight. Go watch some of his fights. But these people that I'm naming are all like the exact opposite of what I preach about, like being in position and everything. Well, they are, I guess, in position. They make the position, like, I guess, create chaos.
Man, that's
and
one
thrive
of the
in it.
things I love about striking, man, is like you can get good at doing things that are technically bad.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I got away with it for a long time. Still do.
Oh,
I used
man,
to.
You used to
I
be.
used to.
Was
Man.
striking bad?
Yeah,
Been
he
out
just
of
had
position?
some really bad habits, man, that were just like.
Nobody made me change them.
But exactly.
It's the hardest you ever been punched.
Hardest I ever been punched. Manny Thompson.
I was gonna say, you just told me
Manny
this the
Thompson,
other day.
yeah. In like that I remember. Obviously, my fights, like I said, with Julian, and like when I fight normally, I really don't pay, like it doesn't register in a fight of like 1 to 10 or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just know that I got hit. That's it. It doesn't, and sometimes it's like, oh, that was a little bit harder than the last one, but it's not like, oh, dang, that was this hard and that was this hard. It's not. Don't register every time I get touched. But there's a boxer in town, Manny Thompson, that I've sparred with a couple times.
But
That-
you never fought.
No, we've never fought. Thank
Fight
God.
him. Tell him, let's go. Let's do it. I can't do that.
We've been training together.
Hey, we're
He's a boxer. He's not a fighter. Yeah, he's a boxer, not an MMA
right
fighter.
now. We're focused on
Eddie
his
fights.
MMA
He fights at
career.
like 168 or something like that.
He too
That's
little.
too far from 170.
I think you're too little, right?
He's way big. He's bigger than me. He's bigger than me. But yeah.
Nah, it hurts. I just told you. It hurts. So, no.
Told you I was injured and not ready to fight right now.
Yeah.
No, man. If I didn't know him, if I just sparred with him once and he hurt me the way he did, and I didn't know him and he wasn't from Wichita and we trained together, he's one of the people I can go spar with that pushes me and makes me work, you know. So if that wasn't the case, if I didn't know the dude, even though he hurt me in practice, you know what I mean, he even rocked me a couple times, he hit me harder.
Practice.
Yeah,
Practice?
He came to the gym and sparred. Yeah, with
Not
16-ounce gloves and hurt me more than anybody else has.
You got it. And what? 16?
Yep.
You got to break a motherfucking
I've fought.
You don't stop hitting like that.
I've been hit by heavyweights and laughed at him, and he.
So here's a question: How do you really train for? Like when you're sparring and you're training, you're not going all the way in because you clearly don't want to do that with someone.
David used to do it to me. He had to show me who Daddy was. Apparently, when I first got to the gym, I always used to try to establish myself with David.
Hey, well, I had to establish that
David
you
used to
wasn't
try to
quite
touch
ready yet.
He
You
used to try
wasn't
to
quite
touch my
ready,
spine with his knee.
man. Well, and that was an era. There was an era where that's
You
just
gotta
how
be
we
tested
sparred.
like that. You gotta be tested
That's
like
just
that.
how we
you come
sparred
to our
back
gym.
then.
You come to our gym and tell us you want to be an MMA fighter. You got to get tested.
Right. And Chris just happened to be the new dude in the gym. Like
That's one
everybody
curious
goes through
thing.
that. And look where he at now. Look where he at now.
Look where he's at now.
Look where he is at now.
Don't you get all sophisticated on me.
What? Well, that's what someone I was talking to has been following both of you guys are like. Dave is like the superstar that puts everybody on the map, but you're like the fuck, I forgot what's called, like the workhorse, like the enforcer. And I was just kind of thinking about like, I said, nah, man, it's like some motherfuckers in that gym. And I got to thinking like between you, Dave, you, Chris, fucking Alex, Manny, like all these people, all you guys seem to have this, even Jessica, all have this aura like, let's fight. Who's down?
That's
Who's ready?
bred into us at JMTK by Andy Zerger. The old era of JMTK. I feel like, so you say you get that vibe from them. I feel like I'm the last one that kind of got that beat into me. Like
Tyler Ingram.
Yeah, Ty has that, but that's on his own. He brought that with him, and I just pulled it out of him by beating the shit out of him.
And
But-
we're not the only people that breathe this sort of thing.
yeah,
It's just the environment of the gym that you come
you're
up
from.
in, you know. And there wasn't a lot. There's definitely not a lot of that now.
No.
Okay, there's not a lot of gyms like old JMTK was.
I got enough of the old guys to train with when I first started
But
that I
y'all
still got
there.
that into me.
Why
Yeah.
not do that? I mean,
Because-
like I said, I see Tyler.
It's
and I
frowned.
think-
It's frowned upon.
Yeah, we
dude.
get in trouble
Honestly,
now.
it's frowned
We
upon.
get in
like,
trouble now.
dude. Okay, well, you know, another truth to it was
You tell me you want to be a fighter if you can't survive around, then
right.
go train somewhere else.
Man, was you know when I showed up to the original JMTK, you got your ass whipped. Like you got your ass whipped, and you kept coming, and you got molded into something mean as hell,
Yep.
or you just left.
Yep.
And a lot more left. Okay,
Yep.
a lot more people leave.
But look
and guess
what
what?
gym
That's
has the
money.
best fighters.
That's money leaving the door too.
Yeah.
So now trainers are
Got
getting
it.
away from
Yeah.
that shit, man. Like trainers are like, dude, we don't want these people brawling from wall to wall.
But then you
You
see
know
what
what I mean?
happens. You see what happens, like in David's last fight. You got dudes that are bred the way we're bred, and then you got dudes that didn't last at those gyms and went and became fighters at another gym and get broke in the fight.
There's a lot
That's
of
what
like
happens.
people.
But if that makes winners, if
Yes.
that makes tougher
Yes.
fighters, like it seems.
But it's not profitable.
But is it? Because to me, let's say you go.
not
UFC,
everyone
you
looks in the
go-
long run.
I can't spar with
No one
anybody else.
dude. How many people see the long goal?
I don't know.
Not many people in the world. I'll
The
tell
way
you that.
the way that I spar, like me and
The
David
long
don't
con
spar.
is an art.
Me and David don't. We don't spar 100% anymore, right? Because David wants to remember his kids' names when
Yeah,
he's old.
dude.
He's worried about. We spar hard. Don't
I
get me
gotta be
wrong.
able to teach
We
them
spar.
the
We,
ABCs and
we
shit,
spar
bro.
hard. We spar hard. Me and him, we push each other hard, but we don't crack each other as hard as we can anymore, right? The only person that I do that with, that I can do that with at the gym, is Ty. That's it. Anybody else, I'll feel bad if I hit him as hard as I can. But if I hit Ty as hard as I can and he falls down, tell him to get up and quit being a girl.
Man. And I think you know, and he's 100% right. And Chris still loves to do it, but you know, me personally,
But I can't do that with new people.
Once you know you can be in that kind of fight, I don't see the point.
You don't need to prove it every day. Yeah. Yeah. Trust me.
I mean,
no.
once you have that big fight,
No.
No,
Once you get
realize
tested like
you
that
can
one
bite
thing
down
and take
on your
a punch.
mouthpiece and
Yeah.
just fucking go.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, you heard our little phrases and we need to write a book and stuff. Like, I'm all for the science and technique and technical aspects of it. So I 100%, I don't see the point of it either, really. The way me and Ty spar sometimes, there is no reason for it. When neither one of us are learning nothing, we're just beating the shit out of each other for no reason. But we both like doing it. So
but when,
that's
I'm about to say.
but when you say that,
I'm not saying there's a reason behind it. We
Yeah,
we just like beating the shit out
They
of each
just
other.
both happen to smile really big when they're done.
Yeah.
Like,
but even then, let's say that, right? Now you got people coming in saying they want to be fighters. And then they are getting, what would y'all say, 60%?
that's about what
They're
I
getting
dish out.
What?
Like
terms-
when we spar nowadays.
Who gets 60% from you? Spencer, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe, and that's just because he's awkward as hell and pisses you off when he touches you. That's about it. Like,
Are you saying it's
other than-
more or
no,
less?
less.
Less than
It
60?
probably
Yes.
is less. It's
All
probably
right.
about 40, 50.
Okay,
Like,
so let's say 40. And then this guy wants to have a fight.
if we're talking power,
You have to-
I mean, it's probably even less than that.
You have to. What I've learned, is you have to push people to their limits, not yours. Right?
Fine,
Like-
but there's another motherfucker on the side of the
That's
cage
that's
who's ready to
yeah.
take.
But
his
if
head off.
if I sit there and beat the piss out of some dude beyond what he can keep up with, he's not gaining anything by, if we're talking about preparing for a fight.
Right.
Now if he just walked in the gym and was like, "Oh, I want to be a fighter," then maybe I'll beat him up once. I don't really even beat the piss out of people anymore. I usually try to beat up their body and legs If I can stop you with a body shot or
That's
leg
kind of
kicks.
beating the piss out.
Yeah, well, if I can, but I'm saying,
Piss
like,
leg.
I don't want to hurt nobody's head or break their nose or something.
yeah,
like,
nothing
but if
like
I stop
that.
you, if I stop you with a body shot and you fall down and don't
You
get
don't
back
wanna
up
get
and
up
keep
and keep
training,
going,
yeah,
right.
you don't want to get up and keep training, then we know you don't have that
You ain't got that
mentality that we
juice.
have. You might make it as a fighter at a different gym, but you're
But-
not going to survive here.
But there's the gym, and then there's the fight.
Mhm.
You
No,
still
if somebody's getting ready
when
for a
you're
fight.
okay. So I'll lay it out like this: when you're new, you have to. There has to be a time period where you do that.
You get
you
pushed
have-
to in an uncomfortable position.
You have to fight a fight in the gym.
yeah,
like you have to have
But-
your fights in the gym,
but
like
it's
where
not,
you're going all
it's
out.
not David beating up somebody to his level. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
some
yeah,
new
yeah.
kid getting ready for his first fight. David's not going to just beat the piss out of him to his level. I'm going to
No, but
grind
like-
on you, and I'm going to keep punching you, and I'm going to keep making you move and keep making you work to your level.
right.
Right? Like I'm going to be one step above you. You're
Right.
wore out and tired, and I'm grinding on you, beating you up, and I'm going to make you keep moving. But I'm not going to just stand up and posture up and beat the piss out of you and not let you get back up.
Right.
I'm going to make you push through an uncomfortable position at one step above your
But
level.
You've got.
So
you've
you
got,
know what it feels
You
like.
got two new guys who are both new. They should be doing hard sparring together.
okay.
Like those two new guys should be hard sparring together, learning off of each other because that's what they should be going up against. Okay, I should not go in and hard spar the new guy and just
It's hard for them.
Yeah.
You see what you know what I mean?
Right,
It's
yeah.
they're hard, but it's not
right,
David's
but
hard.
it's not. You know, I'm giving them 50%, and
To them, it's hard.
Now, okay, so these guys are having fights. They're running through not running through, but they're having more and more fights. At some point, how do we know? Hey, fuck this leg up. At what point do you know we got to go harder with this guy? We got to drill him harder because the competition's about to get harder, and he needs to know because some people will try
'Cause
to
they'll
take
start
the
to keep
sweet
up.
fights.
Yeah.
That's just how it works, dude. They'll start to keep up. I can tell you that. I can remember a guy that I know very much.
I used to get beat
Chris?
up by everybody.
Chris.
Everybody used to beat
Here's
my ass.
another
I was
name
just
you
big
guys
and
might
tough
know.
and strong enough.
Brandon Phillips.
Brandon Phillips. Yep.
Dude, those are guys who like I remember who were not good at all. Who they pick up.
Mhm.
Fighters pick up shit. Okay, the good ones are they'll just slowly.
I learned by
Before you
getting
know it,
beat
they're
up.
gonna start hitting you.
I learn what mistakes I'm making because you hurt me for making that mistake. Like we were talking about earlier, you can sit there and tell me your hand is down, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. Well, until somebody hurts me, I'm gonna continue to do this wrong.
Now, why wouldn't you take easier fights?
I'll take any fight.
I'm just saying. In
I don't care
general.
if somebody calls me right now with somebody that I view as an easy fight, I'll take it.
Why wouldn't you pad your record?
Why wouldn't I pad my record?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So that's what I mean. Like
So-
going for a person that's
So
padded.
do I want to an example, oh, I'll fight him when we get to the UFC. Okay. So you're telling me you want to pad your record, make it to the UFC, finally fight somebody that's good. Probably lose. Usually guys get a 3-fight contract, I guess. Probably something like that.
Dave?
Right? With Bellator, that's what they do for usually is your first 3 fights. Everything I've heard about the UFC is the same. So I signed this guy who's padded his record the whole time, fought guys he knows he can beat up. Well, now you can't pick your fights no more. You're signed to the UFC, right? They give you 2 dudes who are really good, who are maybe not really good, but they're actually good, skilled fighters that deserve to be in the UFC too. Or you could get lucky and they give you some other padded dude too. But either way, say this dude gets some okay fighters, they beat him. You lose your first 2 fights, you're cut from the UFC. Right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's going to be harder to get back to the UFC than it is to take your losses now, fight dudes that are tough, get tested now, and make sure you're ready for it when you get there so you can stay there.
And that's what essentially I'm asking about is if you're not taking the challenges and then you get a fight and you get popped, how do you prepare a person who's been padding themselves?
There's you're talking about like the mental side of it.
All of it. Because
All of it?
like
Man,
you guys
because-
saying we only spar 40% or whatever case it is with each other. But then that same fighter is also, let's say, taking the easier, more padded route because it's better. I mean, it can look better. It's good for money. It's good for health and all this. But then you have to have that real fight, and you get punched like you've never been punched before because you haven't been accumulating that callus.
What said? Even if the fighter
You're talking about hypothetically a teammate of ours.
That's
what I feel like.
We get a guy that comes to the gym and wants to pad his record. That's what you're talking about.
I'm saying in it because now being around you, I've seen it more. Like I know guys in the gyms in Texas and Oklahoma and all this kind of shit do the same thing because, and then let's say ends up having to run into you one, or Brandon because Brandon has a decent record. Yeah, it seems like all right, that's a decent record.
Look what happened to AJ McKee. Got beat by Brandon.
Who's I know AJ McKee. Who was the guy Brandon fought and lost? Is it? I thought that was me.
AJ beat him.
He lost to McKee.
AJ beat him on the
card. On paper
by the judge's decision.
Okay, so yeah, like a McKee because it seemed I didn't believe in McKee. He beat Brandon and they love him. It seems like, but then you have a real punch. How do you prepare a person for that? If
I
you
don't
guys
know. I'm
can't
prepared
train
for
the way
it.
you normally train,
I'm prepared for it.
Well, that's the thing is, we, regardless of what percentage we say we spar at the gym, we work hard as hell.
And
like,
we have both tested each other.
We've definitely had the fights in the gym.
We know that we're going to perform when it comes time, when we're hurt and when we're losing and when we're tired and when somebody's beating us up. We know we're going to still continue to fight.
For that stuff
We've never been broken. But you're saying, how do we do that to somebody else that doesn't want it done to them? Those are the dudes that don't make it.
There's so much, man.
Those are the dudes that don't make it at our gym.
You're going to find out when you get in there.
Yeah.
That's it. Dude, you can have the best training partners, the best coaches. Dude, at the end of the day, if you don't go in there,
there's dudes that will still break during the fight, too.
You could have a padded record, and you could go into the UFC, and you could turn out to be the next fucking Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Or
there's
you
somebody
can
out
take
there
an L like Ronda Rousey and end up on the fucking bench again.
I'm not shitting on Ronda because she can beat me. So, what advice would you give a fighter?
In that position?
Who wants to be
in that position?
Just in general.
Advice as far as what? Towards what? Life?
To being a fighter. Like, what is some Chris Harris jewels?
So, what am I advising them on, though?
Fucking being a fighter.
Just okay, so a normal person, somebody who's never...
how to get to where you at.
How
to be great.
I'm not
magnificent,
great yet.
Scary motherfucker.
You gotta know yourself. You know what I mean? Be honest with yourself. You gotta and like these dudes that you were saying have never been tested in the gym or whatever and take padded fights. Like, who knows? Like Dave said, you might get tested and you might turn out great. You might perform well when the pressure's on. But if you don't know that about yourself, I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out on TV or when I'm in the UFC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? That's what this sport is. Like, I'm uncomfortable all the time. I'm a good fighter. I can hold my own with everybody in the gym. But things outside of the gym, my life growing up, everything else has forced me to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Here's a question for both y'all, man. So pretty much the two greatest fighters of a generation almost between Mayweather and McGregor. Both of them basically ran a long run of not losing. Mayweather definitely no losses in terms of the record, and McGregor went a long run out losses. Do you think that losses, between you guys having losses, have made you develop better as a fighter versus probably being undefeated?
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's the best lesson learned from your fight, from your losses?
The first time I lost, I learned to fight for the reason I started fighting. Fight because I enjoy to fight. You know, I enjoy fighting. Not even necessarily just fighting. I enjoy this process I enjoy training. That's why I'm never out of camp. I'm always in the gym training, always. And for that fight, I worried too much. I guess the shorter way to put it is be in the moment, I guess. Because live for like right now. That's how I've always lived. That's how I've always trained. That's how I've always looked at fighting, right? Like what you guys said earlier, oh, it'll come eventually. It'll come eventually. I don't worry about if I lose this fight, what I could lose. I don't have that yet. Just show up and fight. Just right. So, and that my first fight, you can't put too much pressure on what's going to happen if you win or if you lose this fight. Oh, I could get this if I win. I can get this if I win. I can get this if I win. Like, you got to win first.
Yeah.
So all the other stuff is all extras. That'll come later on. You know what I mean? You can worry about that stuff when it comes. So my first fight, that was what happened. I started worrying about too much. Like, if I win, I was going to be the next big thing in the middleweight division in Bellator and all this. And, oh, I'm going to get a contract with Bellator if I win this fight. And this is going to happen. And this is going to happen. And yada, 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 yada. And look what happened. I didn't win the fight. So none of it happened. Right? That's the lesson I learned, is to stay, like I said earlier, stay true to myself. I have to know myself. I know why I fight. Fighting is just the necessity and to be able to live the life that I live. You know what I mean? I don't actually enjoy the fight. I enjoy this process that I do. I like fighting, obviously, too, but that's not why I train every day. I don't wake up every day and go to practice because I have to win that fight, or else I'm not going to get this stuff. Then you're at practice because you have to be. If I had a fight or if I didn't, you give me an unlimited amount of money, I'm still going to be in the gym doing the same stuff I'm doing now, whether I ever fight again or not. I'll still be at the gym every day. I'll still be training just as hard as I do every day. I'll still be grinding like I do now. I don't do it because I might, or because I have this fight. Or I don't go to the gym because I have to be ready for this, because I have to be ready for that. I do it because I enjoy it. So that was the lesson I learned from that fight, was to stay true to myself, I guess is the way to put it.
So before that, were you fighting to win or fight not to lose?
I was just fighting because I enjoy it. Win or lose. I didn't care. That's why all you guys always make fun of me, like, oh, you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'm going to show up and fight. That's how I looked at it. That's how I do look at it. Like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to perform to the best of my ability. And if my best of my ability is better than the best of your ability, then I'm going to win.
Jules, Dave.
Yeah. What are we doing?
What was the biggest lesson you learned from your first loss?
Nah, I know. I just fucking with you.
Now I'm interviewing.
Okay, but yeah, man. The biggest, dude, I feel like I learned 2 lessons. I feel like when I lost one of the first times, the first time to Chandler, I realized I could work harder. Man, and once I realized I could work harder, and I put the gas pedal to it, man, like training and this and that, and I feel like I improved. I did a lot of stuff right. It made me a lot better of a fighter, this and that. I put the gas pedal to training and this and that, man. But another problem developed during this time period was I started to fight not because you actually said it earlier, and it really
not to lose.
I fought not to lose. The fear of losing is why I trained so hard. So I was always thinking about losing instead of thinking about how much I just love to train. Right. Like, dude, and I would, for real, like, I'd just be like so scared to lose. Like, what if I lose? Oh my God. It'd be so embarrassing.
I mean, it was.
Dude, hey, nobody likes to lose. That's the truth. Nobody likes to lose, man. And and here's another. Chris just said this. Getting comfortable with that shit. Getting comfortable with the idea that, dude, at the end of the day, half of us go home sad as fuck. Okay? Half of us on the card go home and we're upset with our performance. We're not happy with this and that. And you have to be okay with that outcome, dude. Otherwise, you're going to be standing there 5 minutes before you walk out, scared to death because you don't want to lose. And the outcome of that fight is so damn important when you're you can't go in there and fight at your best when you're sitting there thinking about stuff like that. So, within this last year, I think I've really figured that out, man. I've gotten back to my comfortability, which, a lot for me was, being comfortable with where I'm at in life, man. Like, I could personally never fight again and be financially stable. And like, that's a really goddamn good feeling.
I bet. Now,
yeah.
Chris.
Now we're back to fighting because he wants to fight.
I just
not
want to
'cause
fight.
He has
like,
to.
Exactly. I just want to be in there. Like dude, for the longest time, I cannot tell you how when I was about to walk out, I'm like looking at my daughter and I'm like, this is the best moment of my life, dude. Like, I was so happy, man. Like, and I think that you could just see it on my face when I fought, and you could see it in the way that I fought. I was just going, man. Like, I was just so damn happy and having fun out there, and and the outcome was the result of that.
Now, Chris, speaking of the results, having fun, half the people going home sad. What's all this chit chat shit you do at the end of the fights? All your fights, you feel like you buddy with a motherfucker you just
Not the last time.
Except
Not
for the last
time.
fight.
okay, except for the last time. But you still was
I
chit
tried.
chatting with
I
him
tried.
quite
I
a
tried
bit.
to go to apologize.
That was a good one though.
Dude,
That's good for K's side, actually.
It's
Great.
it's just a mutual respect, I guess. I mean, the tougher the fight, usually the more I talk to the person, the more close I become. I guess I don't know, like if there was a little meter or something or scale for it, I guess like every time you punch each other, it like just more and more
respect.
Yeah.
But they don't feel that friendly. I don't know what you see.
Julian Marquez, my friend.
Marquez, but that was just a great fight. I
Brandon
think
Chevy's his friend.
Yeah, Chevy's my
Okay,
friend.
Chevy.
And we beat the piss out of each other. No other
I
fight's
ain't
been
gonna
like
fuck
that.
it.
No other fight's been like that.
Carter.
Wayman?
Wayman Carter.
One side.
I didn't be all buddy with him.
Man, y'all was giggling. It's on the fucking cage side. Y'all just everybody
Talking
whole
while
team,
the
everyone
referee-
huddling. Oh, not while the referee. I'm just saying at
Yeah.
the end. At the end when you just sat there.
But
you-
still, that was it's just a mutual respect. thing,
Actually,
I
what are
guess.
you saying? That he hit you the hardest you've ever been hit
He dazed me.
in MMA?
Yeah, he did
yeah, you stumbled.
daze me a little bit. Well, go ahead and detail. But maybe that was why. I don't know, because I had never been hurt in MMA before, and he hurt me. Not hurt me.
I don't
but
think they're going. The higher the ranks, I don't think they're gonna want to do all that extra. Just gotta say, man, great fight. Thanks for this fight. And just
Well,
get
if
out
they
the
don't want
cage.
to talk to me, they don't have to talk to me.
Yeah.
Get out
See you
their
later.
face, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's about time to wrap this thing
Tell me to
up.
leave you alone if you don't want to talk to me.
they
tell
want
me,
to, but
tell
you
me you'll
just
come
beat 'em
back.
up.
I'll come back and kill you.
Come
next,
over there like a
murder you
bully.
next time.
I'll
I'll come back and
Talk
murder
to
you
me
next
now.
time.
So what's next? I mean, I guess it's not a lot next. You still trying to get a fight. You just had a fight. So I guess really what is next?
Keep posting Instagram posts till somebody gets the hint.
Dave, what about you?
Man, you know what I'm gonna try to do? I'm just looking forward to my next pizza. I just ate a 2-pound Reese's today.
Wow.
But I actually my contract with Bellator is up in April, and I'm re-signing, but I have another fight between now and then.
You do?
Me and then like it has to happen basically. Like,
Oh, you have to have another fight.
Yeah.
Or you already? Is it booked?
huh?
You
Nothing's
can't-
booked. No, I mean, but I
Got some
imagine
names?
no, I ain't got nothing.
Okay.
I called out Benson Henderson. I would personally I would enjoy fighting Benson
We
Henderson.
call that a money fight.
Yeah,
We call
I
that
mean-
money box office.
Yeah, that'd be a great fight. I think just stylistically, man, like people don't realize how fun that fight is gonna like for the people. That's a fight for the people.
At
man.
what class? At what weight?
Anyway, if he wants to do 55, I'll cut to 55. If he wants to do a half, I'll cut to 62 and a half. Whatever. He's fought at 70 and
Man, don't do
55.
55. You did a whole concussion conversation over 55.
I know, man. I'm just saying I would if I had to, but I really want to avoid going to 55. We'll just see whatever let's go.
Shout out them sponsors. Both y'all get these sponsors out the way.
On It Labs, Future Legends, Rivet and Eyelid, Cigar Perforator, Venom, Venom Official,
You got a t-shirt
EFC.
on.
I'm sponsored by Evolution Fighting Championship. They're
T-shirt.
pretty cool.
Got a cool t-shirt on too.
Got like a real dope T-shirt.
Nah, you
Supplement
got it.
World.
You got to go, Chris.
They local out here. Supplement World.
Let Chris get the bag since you can't remember. What about you, Chris? What you got?
Primetime Barbershop.
Hey,
Shout out to Nelson. Go get your haircut.
Nelson Mandela.
That's it.
No, man.
What about them people collectors, son?
them clean ass people collectors at aRoweFilms.com? Go get you one. Shit. All right, now we out of here, man. This is Catch These Hands podcast on the I'm Kinda Famous podcast network, and Chris Harris officially has been on, so he can stop saying I don't want him on the show because he's on. All right, I think next time I got Jed on. Talk about booking fights.
All he does is talk about it. Don't book me no damn fights either. Talks about who he wants me to fight and this and that and who would be a good fight.
Let's get out of here, man. God damn, you fucking up my show. This is I'm Kinda Famous podcast network. This is Catch These Hands. Until then, catch these hands.
Nobody's catching these hands. Nobody is
Then
catching.
these hands are relaxed.
Rowe up the street said you were talking all that mess about my hands. Do you want these hands?